Welcome to the Party Pals GRC Mafia. Give me a 1 in chat if you guys can hear me. I'm going to start doing that, considering the issues that we had the previous time we were streaming. So definitely drop a 1 in the chat. We're going to steal that away from PBO and, start doing that as well. Now, we're definitely here to break down barriers, foster collaboration community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. Even if you guys have any questions, want to share resources and so forth, one of the best places to drop resources is going to be inside of our Discord server. I'm dropping that in chat right now. But then also, even if it doesn't relate to what we're talking about at that time, definitely still drop it in chat. Absolute worst case scenario, we'll just circle back around to that later on. Also, it's an open stage. So here in a moment, I'm going to transition over to the privacy policy itself. And I went through and highlighted a bunch of stuff last night. And I'm going to try to just go through it as quick as possible. It's a lot of information. But I kind of took a lot of the key points that, at least pointed out to me. You guys are more than welcome to come up on stage, ask your questions, jump into the Discord server and the live chat channel. You can also put your social media links for LinkedIn or Blue Sky or X or whatever you want. Just don't share anything that you don't want to be public. If you happen to do so, reach out to me on Discord or contact@studygrc.org. And how's everybody doing? Wait, what? PBO's live right now too? It's 6 p.m. Go figure. Jeez, leave it to PBO doing it early now. I think I saw that he did it early last week, but he was telling me it was going to be like 8 p.m. or something. Like an hour earlier. Wow. Go figure. Well, let's go through this then. I'm going to transition over to this unsponsored ad roll. I've mentioned it before. We're not doing any paid sponsorships or otherwise. Instead, we're just trying to bring light to other creators out there in the communities or otherwise that's, especially aligns with, our, more anti-paywall and so forth. There's tons of free courses that are the free labs that are through Cyber itself.
Want to actually learn cloud security? And I mean, not just pass a test, but actually learn how to defend and attack real environments? Cyber's one-click labs let you exploit real AWS Lambda functions, escalate IAM privileges, and respond to incidents in live environments. You'll learn how to securely configure cloud resources, create your own custom incident response playbooks, and learn how to pen test cloud infrastructure to find real vulnerabilities before attackers do. Visit cyber.com to join thousands of cloud security practitioners and a growing community, and start your first hands-on lab for free today. Or use coupon code StudyGRC for 10% off our premium memberships. That's cybr.com.
All right, so let's see here. So here in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and start going through this. This one alone is 16 pages, and then I believe the terms of service is 24. But it's not that bad. It shouldn't be too horrible there. What I was actually going to do real quick is I was going to set this up so that way when we end, it's going to automatically go over to PBO's channel. So I'm copying this over right now. Or at least I'm going to try to set that up real fast before I get started here. But how's everybody's week going already? So we're only on Tuesday. And then we had last week as well, where we decided to take a break there. Oh no, come on, YouTube. All right, it's not gonna work. Oh well. I'll just drop the chat and so forth. I have it playing. All right, let's go ahead and push forward here then. Yeah, and then also, I definitely want to throw up this disclaimer here on the fact that I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not legal advice whatsoever. I find it interesting on the privacy policies, privacy matters to me, but then also this also goes to show what things to look out for, kind of what points out to me at least. You guys are more than welcome to come up on stage, add your additional takes in the chat as well, and especially with how often not only us as a community utilize Discord, but then also, from a business perspective, there's a lot of businesses that run Discord servers as well that are fully underneath this as well. They don't have any secondary type of thing for businesses or otherwise. It's all ran underneath the same privacy policy in these other documents here. So I'm going to go ahead and just push through on this. I'm going to skip over a lot of this different information too. Like I said, I did go through and highlight these sections out that I wanted to particularly mention. But also I dropped all of these links in our Discord server, in the updates channel. And then also I'll try to add those into the chat as I go through this as well. And like I said, you guys are more than welcome to come up and join the conversation as well if you'd like to. All right. Now, so the privacy policy itself is how they collect, use, store, protect, and share your personal information. They do go through and state that they care a lot about privacy, and respecting user privacy is a key part of their mission. They do clearly state throughout several times that they do not sell your personal information, and instead they're funded through subscriptions and paid products and sponsored content. Now, one of the different changes that appear in this new privacy policy that goes into effect September 29th is it seems like there's more language for third-party advertisement platforms and so forth. And that's something that has been, kind of in discussions, it seems like, since like the beginning of the year, with Discord going through and trying to push some type of advertisements. Nobody really knows how bad that might be or the implementation possibility, but it seems like they added more language for that. And one of the other things that's in here is that we'll go through it later, but in regards to this particular section here, they mentioned sponsored content. So they're saying that we don't sell your personal information, but they do give your personal information to third-party platforms for advertising purposes. They do also clearly state that those third parties are only allowed to utilize that information for the purposes of advertising on their platform or otherwise. But in my opinion, that's still a form of selling your information. So yeah, and they do a lot of different tracking throughout as well. So yeah, to each their own. I mean, they have some really good attorneys that really watch the wording on here. Another thing that I also seen throughout is that they really focus on saying including so. They don't really say like including but not limited to. They have a clause at the very end that states otherwise. That states that, when they say including, that's just one example of, many different possibilities. So it doesn't limit their policies as well. I had no idea. PBO has always been streaming at 9 p.m. Jeez, PBO. PBO decides to change it up and everything else, and then now I stream at the same time. Let's see. We limit what information is required. We require the information that enables us to create your account, provide and maintain services, meet our commitments to our users, and satisfy legal requirements. The rest is optional. That's another big thing that I noticed throughout too, is that they put a heavy focus on the fact that your use of the service is completely optional to you. You can leave at any time. And then also that, they're just trying to operate their business itself within the legal requirements. And also improve their services is another big one. They mention here about safety as well. I do believe that their entire safety program itself seems really, really great. A lot of that does have to do with automated tracking and information, including with what they call models, leveraging their own AI models of some sorts to prevent all kinds of different safety related issues, whether that's for children or malware or just scams in general. They also have a transparency page that I'll pull up later as well and drop that in chat. They give you the control. So this is another section where I just don't understand, because they say that they give you the ability to control your privacy on Discord, but you do not have the option to opt out always. So I don't believe this statement at all. So there are sections in here that you do not have the ability to control. Some of the different tracking or otherwise, you don't have the option. I guess the part that is in your control is whether or not you use the service or not. And so again, legal wording matters. They go through and they talk about what Discord is. That's where we're going to save some time on here, is not reading every single section. But this applies to all of their different applications, mobile, web, desktop, console, and even connected home appliances. Any device with a web browser and internet connection could theoretically connect to Discord. They also have the website, blog, support center, which may also collect information by other means for surveys, emails, social media, etc. They may also use content posted in larger spaces to help us develop, improve, and power their services. So that really what they were just stating here is that if you're in especially a larger Discord server, they're going to be utilizing that to influence their safety models and see what features and services people use and leverage that to improve the service for everybody. And also what works or what doesn't, especially if advertisements do roll out, then that's going to be included in there as well. They mention here again that they don't make money from selling your personal information to third parties. Their business is funded through subscriptions, paid products, and sponsored content. They mentioned that a moment ago as well. But again, I would be on the fence on that, considering the fact that you're still technically, they do mention later on that they do provide information to advertisement platforms or third parties in regards to their business operations. And that's still, I consider that a form of, you're still selling that information to make money. You're giving that information away to make revenue. The information we collect. So there's a couple different sections that I think a lot of this is going to be pretty similar to what we're typically going to see. But you got your username and password and a way to provide a way of contacting you. So email or phone number. You also are going to be required to enter your birthday for Discord itself. And then they also may require additional information to verify your age. So that's another one of the changes. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of like the ID verification requirements that are rolling out. And it looks like they've added this in here now. You also may be required to verify your account or provide additional information, like verifying a phone number to your account as well. Content you create. So this is everything. And really the overall thing is the content you create is anything that you put out there. Anything that you click on Discord, anything you send on Discord, even in voice chats and activities, and every type of interaction you do with the platform, especially when you add that content to it. So I'm not going to read all of it here, but messages and posts, when you add custom emojis, and then also your profile information and any content you create. So one of the things that they do mention here too is that they say we generally do not store the contents of video or voice call channels. That really kind of piqued my interest because Discord did roll out end-to-end encryption and claim that they do not record or monitor any of the video calls or voice calls. So they say that they generally do not store the contents. And then down here, they say that we also don't store streaming content when you share your screen, but we do retain the thumbnail for a short period of time. That's like if somebody hovers over your name on Discord, it'll show like a thumbnail of what's on the screen at that time. And they do mention that they may build other features there. And they'll also notify if they plan to change any of that in the future. I just don't understand why they say that they generally do not store the contents. So wording matters. I mean, theoretically they could get a court order that states, hey, you have to record the calls for these individuals and you're not allowed to disclose it. But that's also getting into tinfoil hat area. And at least that would be with a court order, hopefully. Payment information, so that's pretty straightforward too. Stripe and PayPal. They may also store your some billing information on their own as well. So they do go through Stripe and PayPal for examples, but also Discord itself may also store some of that information too, such as the last four of your credit card number. And you can see here that they clearly state including the last four. They don't say, just the last four or otherwise. It could be the last four of your card number. It could be your address. It could be your phone or your name. They don't clearly state exactly what information they do store. They just give an example of, such as the last four of your card number that Discord serves or actually saves outside of the payment gateway. Let me double check here. Welcome to the party, pal Rosnir. Information from actions you take. So your use of Discord and your activities on the service, such as the friends you add, the users, bots, and apps you engage with. the servers or other communities you join and participate in, or the roles in servers. So pretty much everything within Discord is tracked, monitored, and logged. So this is still including the different information that you provide. We may also collect limited information from your device while Discord is running. So this could be, I think they provide an example later on of like the music that you're listening to or the game that you're playing. But this also is going to include, they mention it, I think later on too, on the fact that they do log the IP address, device information, all of that stuff. One of the big things that I would highly recommend is if you go into your Discord settings, you can go over to the privacy section, and every 30 days you can submit to get a copy of your data. It usually takes like 2 or 3 days for them to respond with it. But then they have a JSON file that's in there that literally shows every log entry of every single time you open Discord and what device it was, what date of time it was, and the information that they collect on that. And they mention this here too. I mean, to be fair, they do mention that you can, check out that section to see what your options are. Information from optional features. So if you choose to sync your contacts or interact with sponsored content or other third-party services, some of the third parties like the apps and so forth, there are developer requirements like a privacy policy in terms of use for developers. For an example, they do have to have a privacy policy that clearly states like what they use your information for and what information they collect. But there's not very much, it's not very well regulated. And Discord, of course, is not liable for anything with the third parties. For example, when you link this is where it mentions that, like if you link your streaming service, then it can also collect information about the song you're listening to. For information you provide directly to us, you may have the option to submit additional information. So, of course, also if you submit any surveys, provide feedback, or if you interact with like their support teams as well. Automatic information collection. This is where they mention that the information about the device that you're using, such as your IP, operating system, browser information, and information about your device settings, such as your microphone and camera. And I don't see that as such a big deal. Pretty much any application you use is still logging this information. A large portion of this also does have to do with like DDoS protection, malware protection, so they could block your IP address if they need to as well. But just standard safety, really. The microphone and or camera, what I believe that is in reference to is that on Discord, you can select what microphone and camera you want it to use when you join a call. And so that's what I believe that's referencing to, is just like the name of the devices itself. Information about your use of apps or websites. So we collect log and event information related to how and when you use our services, such as the pages, servers, and channels you visit. Again, I think that's pretty well known at this point. But yeah, pretty much anything and everything that you do, if not everything, is logged in some fashion. And they're also utilizing that so that way they can go through and figure out what may interest you too. When you take certain actions on other sites, they may also receive information about you. Primarily what it looks like they're talking about here is like if you click on a referral link, or if you go to a Discord invite, then it may share what website you came from. But then also they do state later on that they do get information from other sources about you, such as social media or otherwise, particularly for advertisements, whether it's Discord itself or there are other parties too. Here, information we receive from other sources, from other users and third parties, and combine that information with the other information we have about you. So that's what I was just talking about a second ago. We may also receive information about you from advertisers and third-party providers, like your demographic information and how you engage with other products and services outside of Discord. I feel like that's probably going to be like with games or Steam or something like that. But again, they kind of leave it a little vague there too. So I'm not 100% sure on exactly what they mean by this. But I mean, it looks like they are definitely, from advertisers and third-party data providers. So third-party data providers, that could be a data broker for all we know. I feel like they probably could have worded this better. So in my opinion there, let me double check chat here. Welcome to the party, pal cam. Yeah, so just going through the Discord privacy policy itself and some of the other documents, I had no idea Professor Black Ops was streaming at 6 p.m. Central now. And then we are like halfway through this now. So now the information, so how they use your information. So we use the information we collect, and then they list out all of these different types of information that they may collect for the following reasons to these legal bases. Now, something else that they mentioned too is that the legal bases below may not apply to you. So, so this can include automated technologies such as machine learning systems. And well, this was another thing that I seen throughout, especially like in the terms of service, is that they clearly go through and state like, instead of having security and privacy as a default, they seem to be taking the route of like, oh, well, if we're not required to do this, if we're not required to obtain consent in that local area, then we're not going to. And that's another issue of mine too, is that, you know, they're only implementing these consent requirements or how you can control your data and whatnot. Not always, but on some of this different stuff, if your local region requires such. Like, I don't understand why it can't just be like, oh, well, you know, this is the highest standard requirements, so this is what everybody is going to apply to. So they use your information to provide services to you when you start a call, you know, just use of the platform itself, or even when you enable optional features like connecting to other platforms through your Discord account to meet their commitments to the community. So this is like their safety stuff. So a safe, positive, inclusive space. Also in regards to their terms of service, community guidelines, and other policies. And also responding to user reports, generating transcript of investigations, malware and fraud detection, scanning attachments and other content for illegal or harmful activities. And then also they state down here too that they also utilize your information to create systems and models that can be automated to more swiftly detect, categorize, and take action against prohibited content or conduct. And then I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to transition over to this page. Let me double check again. Yeah, so they do go through and they give information in there, but it is vague. And that's one of the things that a lot of these sections are vague. We'll get to the retention section here in a moment. And it's another thing where I don't understand why they can't clarify a little bit deeper on, just to give ease to the community. Because Discord has been frowned upon for their privacy policies in the past. So I would believe that it would be a benefit for them to be more clear in their policies than leaving it as vague as they do on some of these parts. Now, this section right here, this is their transparency hub. I want to highlight a section here on right here, their transparency reports. The last transparency report that they have had was for the first half of 2024. In that document, and I'll drop this link in just a second, this is the last transparency report that I could find here. And on their transparency page, on this document, they state that they are changing the period of their transparency reports to every half year. So every 6 months, they're going to go through and publish out these documents. That's what it states in this last one. But this last one was for the first half of 2024. I don't understand why we don't have the last half of 24. And I don't understand why, you know, it's September now and we don't have the first half of 25. So I have no idea. So it is really interesting. Inside of this report, they go through in detail and provide you like how many servers were shut down, how many people were deactivated, what the reasons were. Like they have like, I don't know, about 15 different topic areas, such as like terrorism or child safety. And they even have like scams and so forth on that list as well. And it gives you all the numbers that I find very interesting. And it also goes to show, to be honest, like looking at this first half of 2024, I mean, I think it looks awesome, to be honest with you. Like there was thousands, tens of thousands of users and thousands of servers that they had deactivated or otherwise, or took actions on one way or another. I just don't understand why they haven't published another transparency report in over a year. So that's probably going to be something I'm personally going to reach out to Discord about. They do have like, I believe it's privacy@discord.com or discordapp.com. We'll come across that later. But I definitely wanted to highlight that section that, this is useful information, but they also haven't published anything recently, which I find really kind of concerning. Let's see. Let's go back to this policy now. All right. And like I did state here that they do utilize it to create systems and models that can be automated to more swiftly detect, categorize, and take action against the prohibited content and conduct. They also use your information to contact you. This could be to verify, who you are for your account, but then also product and policy changes or, other purposes or products. I don't have any issues with this section here. I think that's very clear, especially common in a lot of these. To provide customer service as well, to respond to your questions or otherwise, and investigate bugs or other issues for our legitimate business interests. So they also utilize your information to keep their services secure, to prevent misuse, and enforce their terms of service and other policies. They use your information to track the fundamental metrics of their business, to perform financial reporting, and to respond to regulatory obligations, and to debug billing issues. So this is also like the whole metrics portion on like, especially to improve their service, like what features are people using, what features are people not, and so forth as well. To personalize the product. So we use your information to personalize our services so that you can see communities, activities, applications, features, or promotions from us, or other content that may be of interest to you. This is where they're just trying to see what you're interested in. I consider this like personalized advertising in a way. I believe this is primarily directed towards the Discord products themselves. Like you've probably seen, like when you hop into a Discord server, it says, hey, do you want to add this badge? You might be interested in that. But then after you close it a couple times, then it stops showing it. Or, it may prompt you like, hey, check out this new addition to Nitro. You could upgrade now and get this. That seems to be more the direction it's headed with that. Like I've even seen prompts when I join a voice call where it prompts me like saying, hey, we added YouTube to the activities portion. I believe they're actually adding Fortnite as an ability instead of the activities on Discord too, which I think is kind of funny. All right. They also, to deliver relevant sponsored content. So they use your information to help us surface sponsored content such as quests and other sponsored formats that may be of interest to you. As discussed, you can also, check out the privacy section. There's a privacy section in your settings where you can personalize a lot of this. To improve our services, I think we could skip over that section. To advertise our services on Discord and other platforms. So they use certain information to assist in the delivery of our advertising to measure the effectiveness of advertisements for our own products and to improve such advertisements. So this is where they're saying that like one way that I could see them utilizing this particular section is that they're like, oh, okay, so everybody has to give us their date of birth. So what is our average target audience? What is the average age group that utilizes our services the most? Or, hey, we want to increase the activities usage on voice calls. What is the target audience for that? And so then they could pull these different demographics in order to figure out their advertisements on other platforms. That's kind of the way that I see this particular section working. To contact you, we may use your information to let you know about new products, experiments, feedback. You may opt out of receiving such marketing communications. This is where I believe like one of the first mentions is, so where local laws requires, we will obtain your consent before sending such communications. Like why? Why does it have to be where the local law requires? Like why can't you just have it as an opt-in? Why can't you just ask people for consent to send them marketing communications? Why do you have to be required by law to obtain consent? Yeah. So this is like where one of the first sections where it says where local laws requires, or they'll also state in some sections along the lines of like as required by law. So they won't ask everybody for consent for marketing communications before sending such communications, only where they're legally required to do so. To comply with our legal obligations, we retain information about where we are required by law, or if we are compelled to do so by a court order or regulatory body. I think that's pretty straightforward as well. You know, they do have to retain information if they're required to by law. They also mention here too, they also retain your information where you utilize your rights to access, amend, delete your personal information, and so forth too. With your consent, we may also collect and use your personal information with your consent, such as to send you marketing communications and personalized sponsored content where legally required. Again, it's just these keywords where like I just don't get it. Just ask for consent. But if you already have that system implemented, why not? To protect someone's vital interest, we may collect and share personal information if we think somebody's life is in danger. I think this is another common thing as well. No issues with that. How we disclose your information. So when you tell us to do so for different content and services that you utilize, people and communities on Discord. Similarly, if you link your Discord account to a third-party service, then that third-party service, like that app or otherwise, may obtain some of your information as well. And they also utilize it to operate content services or features too, or as otherwise, or as you instruct them otherwise. With our vendors, so they also share your information with the payment processors. Your information may also go through providers like Google that host their data and services. And this is also where they state we may also provide limited information to advertising platforms to help us reach people that we think will like our products and to measure performance of our ads shown on those platforms. We do this to help bring more users to Discord and make the business successful, and to provide only the required information to facilitate these services. So this may include information like the fact that you installed our app or registered to use Discord. We may also provide information to analytics and measurement partners to measure the effectiveness of sponsored content if you engage with it. For example, by starting a quest or clicking on other sponsored content. To comply with the law in response to a request for information. So this is also, I think, worded a little bit differently, maybe because they're just trying to apply to a global audience. But they state that they may disclose your information in response to our request for information if they believe that the disclosure is required by law. I've seen some other platforms where they'll outright say that, you know, we'll respond with, you know, a court order or otherwise. But here they're just leaving it a little bit more open. Like I said, that could just be because they're on the global scale. They're just trying to leave it a little bit more vague because a court order doesn't mean anything elsewhere. So it could just be that language, including meeting national security or law enforcement requirements. So this is where they link out that transparency report. So they say our transparency report has additional information about how we respond to requests from governments and law enforcement entities. I might have just missed over it. I might have looked over it or otherwise. I don't believe I saw anything regarding government or law enforcement requests inside of that last transparency report that is available on their site. That's, you know, now 2 behind. Again, I don't understand why that transparency report's out of date. I don't know if I dropped that in chat. Let me drop that in chat too. Oh yeah, I did. Perfect. All right. And then to prevent serious harm, again, I have no issue with this. If somebody is threatening, you know, death or serious harm to a person, you know, they collect device information or otherwise, like, I think that should be on all of the platforms at this point. To enforce our policies and rights. So they also utilize your information to enforce their their policies here that you agree to with our related companies. So this is another section here. So they mentioned that they also share the information with their related companies, including parents, affiliates, subsidiaries, and other companies under common control and ownership. Now, I was like, okay, well, what do you mean by related companies? That sounds pretty vague too. It's not, I don't consider this a bad thing or otherwise. So on this page here, this is what it links to as related companies. And they list out some of their other companies here. So they have multiple, they have like a company out of Canada. They have some in the Netherlands and so forth. The primary is, I believe, out of California, Discord International. And so these are just some of the different holding companies. I think that could be for regulatory requirements for those regions, especially for the EU area. But yeah, and then like, I'll pull this up too. I could probably drop this in chat. Let me grab the link to this one. So then I just went through and also prompted ChatGPT here. And so on ChatGPT, I just asked it to conduct research and provide insights regarding Discord's related companies as listed below. I just copied and pasted these companies here, and then it just goes through and kind of reiterates such. You know, Discord International, US entity, Discord Netherlands, acts as a data controller for the EEA, and so forth, which I find kind of interesting as well. Now, like one of the things around that though too is I'm not 100% sure on why. So why would they have? I don't know. I'm not sure 100% on how that works at all. They state that they may share your information with these other related companies, but I don't know how their systems work with that. It seems like they primarily have these companies just for regulatory requirements, so I'm not sure. But I dropped both of those links in chat as well. And then I think we're almost done here. To enforce our policies and rights, related companies, sale and acquisition. I think I didn't even highlight that section. I feel like that's pretty generalized too. Aggregated or de-identified information. So what they're saying here is that we may share aggregated user statistics in order to describe our business futures or promotions to partners or the public. So they can anonymize or aggregate different data and publish that to the partners or public. Here's their data retention section. So this is, I kind of feel like a highlight here. So they literally state in their privacy policy here that we retain personal information until we determine it is no longer needed for the processing purposes in which we collect or retain it for legal compliance. And then they link out to their data retention policy. I don't understand why they leave it so vague. It sounds really bad in this way, that they just keep it as long as they possibly need to for legal compliance. But let me transition over to that side now. So I believe this is it. Yeah, here it is. So this is the page in regards to their retention policy that links out to. And let me disable this reader section. And I'll go through and drop this in chat real quick as well. So their retention policy, they do have it in the privacy policy that they'll keep it as long as they possibly legally need to for compliance or otherwise. But also one of the other things that kind of surprised me is if you go to their retention policy that they link to here, they do have some time limits here. You may edit or erase content that you post within Discord. So that is an important thing to keep in mind, that you can delete or edit content at any time. One of the things around that, though, is once you delete content, it is no longer available to other users, though it may take time to clear cached uploads. Deleted content will also be deleted from Discord systems, but we retain content longer if we have a legal obligation. So public posts may also be retained for 180 days to 2 years for use by Discord as described in our privacy policy. So the way that I am interpreting this is that even if you go through and you delete your messages on Discord or content of any sort, they may retain that for anywhere from 180 days to 2 years for their metrics or other parts of their service and so forth, even if you go through and delete the content itself. But they also may have a legal obligation to preserve the information as well. So I find that to be pretty crazy. 180 days to 2 years after you go through and delete the content itself. Now, there are two different options too. So you can delete your account, or you can also disable your account. Disabling your account doesn't delete anything or otherwise, but also when you delete your account, your content stays too. So, yeah, so even if you go through and delete your account, what happens is your information gets anonymized. So you'll see like, oh, deleted user on messages and so forth after an account has been deleted. They try to anonymize the information, but obviously that's not always 100% either. And that's if you actually delete your account itself. They don't actually technically delete the information though. This also includes information such as your username, email, phone number. Some of that information may be kept for longer periods for specific purposes as described below. You can delete your account at any time, and if your account is inactive for 2 years, we may delete it for you. Let's see. And then retention period for specific purposes. So this is what I feel like they probably should have put at least some of this information like in their privacy policy. So age verification. If you submit an ID for age verification appeal, we will delete it within 60 days after the age appeal ticket is closed. So if they require ID verification, they'll keep that information for 60 days after the ticket is closed itself. Their databases are backed up and stored 30 to 45 days upon which they are deleted. Compliance with legal obligations. So they may retain certain information for longer periods to comply with legal requirements, such as purchases through Discord, or retain information related to transactions, specific periods for tax and accounting purposes. Some of that stuff may be 7 years or whatever. It does certainly depend. That could also be why they have some of these other companies. To meet our safety and security commitments. So we retain certain information, including email addresses and phone numbers, for 180 days after deletion for trust and safety purposes. If a user has been reported or flagged for violations of our terms of service or community guidelines, we may retain this information for up to 2 years. So this information helps us keep Discord secure, prevent fraud, and prevent bad actors. Now, this is also where they say we retain certain information, including email addresses and phone numbers, for up to 180 days, but they don't say limited to. So I would also assume that they also are keeping your device information and IP address and such information like that as well, along with this other information too, even after you delete your account for those same purposes too. Let's see. To exercise or defund legal claims or defend legal claims. So they may utilize your information or retain information for legal purposes as well, and continuity of their services. And this is also another important thing too. They have this at the bottom of their privacy policy too, that you can message privacy@discord.com if you have any questions or otherwise too. What happens when you delete your account? When you delete your account, we will typically first put your account on hold for 15 to 30 days so that it can be recovered in case it was deleted unintentionally. Once that period expires, we begin the process of deleting identifying information and anonymizing or aggregating other information. Most of this happens quickly, unless the information is subject to a longer retention period as described above, but it can take up to 45 days to delete identifying information from backups. We retain aggregated and anonymized information, which is information that no longer enables us to identify you. So I don't think this is necessarily bad at all. Like, they have backups and so forth. Like, that's a good thing. So 45 days on their backups, it seems. And then they also clearly state out your rights too. So as described in the privacy policy, you may be located in the EU where the GDPR grants you the following specific rights. If you have questions regarding data retention, reach out to that email address there. Now, this is also another section though too, where again they state that it may apply to you. So if you are located in EU or otherwise, they don't appear to be providing a blanket to everybody for this. Which, I mean, it's true. I mean, that's just how the world works. So, and then I think I shared this in chat already here too. Yep, perfect. So their retention policy itself, and then I'm going back over to the privacy policy here. So data retention that we just covered. So how we protect your information. So they use TLS, so SSL, HTTPS, and then they also enforce technical and administrative access controls as well. That's really the extent that they mention. They do state here that they do utilize end-to-end encryption for video communication. So voice and video communications are end-to-end encrypted. It's important to realize that it's end-to-end encrypted. They still store the key itself. It's not zero knowledge. But then also, like we read earlier in the policy, that they generally do not store the contents of video or voice calls. So again, I think that's just vague language maybe. And they also do mention here that you can help maintain the security of your account by configuring two-factor authentication. If you guys don't already have MFA set up, you should 100% go to your Discord settings, go to privacy and security, and enable multi-factor authentication. Of anything is better than nothing. How to control your privacy. So while local laws may require different things, we believe that our users should have at least the same basic ability to shape their experience no matter where they live in the world. So this is where this is on their privacy policy, and I don't understand why they would put this in there. I feel it's very clear on the fact that they're saying that it shouldn't matter where you're at. You should still have the basic ability to shape your experience no matter where you're at in the world. And yet they state throughout their policies otherwise. Be aware of Discord spaces you choose to participate in. This is another really important thing. I like the fact that they include this. You can choose what messages you send or post and who you engage with. Like I've talked to people, I've been in Discord communities for many years now, and you're not forced to be in a community or engage with people and so forth. Inside of your settings on Discord, you can choose who can direct message you, whether they have to send you a friend request ahead of time, and so forth as well. So I highly recommend you guys customize those settings. And then also, you don't have to be in different communities, especially if it's not something that is a positive outcome. What information to include in your profile, and also third-party services that you connect your Discord account to. That may be YouTube or Spotify or other services as well. Customize your Discord settings. You can choose whether to display your current activity. Discord's based on the fact of gaming. I have never had my activity public. I just don't see a reason why. Like it will say like, oh, watching this video on YouTube, or listening to the song on Spotify or whatever, or playing this game. You could even set it up to where like your friends could go through and join games that you're playing if you wanted to. I think it's cool features, but also I don't really use Discord for gaming, and especially a lot of the communities I am in aren't really gaming focused either. Like literal entire businesses are using Discord servers for support at this point, for customer service. You can also access other privacy related settings in your user settings. This is also where you can limit certain types of processing of your information. So they offer certain settings that allow you to limit information we collect to help us understand how users use our services. If you turn these settings off, we will stop collecting and using new information about how you use and or navigate Discord. So once you disable these privacy settings, that just stops at that point in time. They may still utilize the previous information. We offer certain settings that control whether and how we may personalize Discord for you. If these settings are disabled, we will no longer use information specific to your account to power features that personalize Discord as described in these settings. So that does not seem to apply like when you interact in servers, when you post in servers and features that you use in servers, it doesn't seem to apply to those settings. They do also state in here that especially large servers, they utilize the channels and how it's laid out and what is used the most to influence their features. You can learn more about these in their help center or in the user settings menu in Discord. They do also mention here that some of these settings may be different depending on factors like your age or location. Disable or delete your account. Deleting your account permanently deletes identifying information and anonymizes other information as described in our data retention policy that we discussed a moment ago. It appears most of that identifying information is going to be out 45 days after. You may edit or delete specific pieces of information, such as messages. You may leave Discord servers or delete servers. You can edit or delete channels from a Discord server if you have the permission to do so. Content may be retained by Discord for use as described elsewhere in this policy and in our data retention policy. We may have a legal obligation to retain certain information, even if you delete the information from your account. Access your information. You can request a copy of your data in the data and privacy section of your user settings. Now, Discord only allows at least me to request my data every 30 days. So I have a recurring reminder set up, and every 30 days I request my Discord information. And I think more people should do that. Not only can you dig through that and kind of see what information they have and collect, which I find is pretty interesting, but then also that goes to show that, I'm sure somebody is looking at that to see how many users are requesting their information. Okay, well, at least, okay, so the last 2 minutes, basically. Oh, the last 5 minutes. Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, I showed the stuff on screen and so forth. I was just talking about the cookie policy itself and how I think it's really neat that Discord does provide other resources on this page. In particular, I dropped a link in chat, and I don't feel that they had to add these options in here for you, but I think it's really neat that they chose to do so. And then on the privacy policy itself, I skimmed through the last portion there. Basically, the last portions here was talking about like the local laws themselves, that they do comply with these other regulations here, and then also that it depends on where you're located. So, and they have their data protection officer, and you can contact privacy@discord.com with any questions. This is the GDPR language here for access to your information, rectifying it, erasing it, limiting the processing, and so forth. That's the local region stuff. And they have this link here for state and region specific information, which lists out some of that information on your rights under GDPR, CCPA, and some other things as well. And then that's pretty much when I transitioned over to the cookie policy. And then also I listed all of these different links in the Discord server. So if you guys want to dig into it further, the best place to do that is going to be off of those links there. And then also Discord's privacy settings and so forth. I highly recommend everybody to go through that. There is some stuff that you guys can control with that. Let's see. Their privacy hub, I mentioned that already in regards to the fact that it appears to be out of date by 2 releases already. I'm going to personally send an email to ask why. Let's see. This is the page regarding the information about local laws. So they mentioned Brazil, Canada, the Republic of Korea, certain US states, and the EEA, United Kingdom, and Switzerland. So like certain US states, this is probably going to mostly relate to like California, I would assume. But they do provide that page as well. Another really important page here too is the Discord community guidelines. I'm not going to go through this entire thing. I think this is longer than the privacy policy itself. But this is how everybody has to, their community guidelines. And typically why most people get banned from such. All right, I'll just throw this up here real quick. But yeah, effective September 29th. Yeah, and also one of the last things that they also mentioned on that policy as well is that they're going to, that they do, if there's significant changes to their policies, they will notify users. And that's how I found out about these changes, is that I got an email. Everybody else who has a Discord account should have received an email most likely as well. And that's another positive, I believe. Jasmine mentions, I'm going to share a very interesting video on Discord in regards to digital IDs in Vietnam. Very concerning. So the ID verification or otherwise, I think that's kind of what you're talking about. But digital IDs, I think a couple US states have adopted digital ID as well, like for driver's licenses and stuff even. But yeah, definitely drop that in Discord. And you can see that they also added their language for the ID verification as well. So they changed that around and they added that they may require additional information to verify your age or who you are. Their terms of service here, I do have another document as well. I went through the whole terms of service and highlighted all of that. I actually have it here. Most of this I just skipped over because it turns into a lot of legalese, but the Discord terms of service also got changed and goes into effect September 29th. They define on who's who. They also clearly state that you should read these policies. And if you believe that others aren't following them, to let them know by reporting it to them. So this is a link here where you can go through and report users or otherwise. You can also do so inside of Discord by using the report function. They have their age requirements and responsibility for parents and legal guardians. They may take additional steps, including using third-party services to determine whether you are old enough. We maintain a list of minimum ages around the world as a resource for you. Let me actually open that up here. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. So why is Discord asking for my birthday? And then they go through and they list out minimum ages. So for all countries not listed below, 13 is the minimum age to access our app or website. And then they go through and they have a list here of the minimum ages. So like Vietnam is 15 or older, South Korea is 14. We got 16, 16, 16, 16. The Czech Republic is 15 or older. France and Germany. Germany's 16. Wow. And then like Chile, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela is 14. That's kind of interesting. I think it's interesting that they provide these documents even. So it makes it a lot more clear. But it's also probably a huge benefit on their part. All right. This document's not as bad as the other one. They maintain the list of minimum age requirements. You could see I skipped over a lot more on the terms of service. We may also include certain features and content that are provided by sponsors or others, or that you can purchase from us or others. Discord is running. So when Discord is running, we may identify active games or other applications on your device. You can change your settings at any time. So you can disable the activity settings in Discord. Discord services may be personalized, including their activity preferences and identified in their settings. Content and communities that may be of interest to you. You can control that information in your settings. Certain features and settings may have different defaults depending on your age or where you live, and some may not be optional at all. This is also where, it's definitely going to depend on the regulations and laws for the local areas. Like, I understand why Discord doesn't go through and do a complete blanket of like consent for everybody, because some countries, maybe they're not allowed to ask for consent or provide these options. Who knows? But they do. This is another section where they add that your options and defaults may be different depending on where you live or even your age. While we try to avoid disruptions, they don't provide any type of liability or otherwise, no SLA for their services or outages, and your content may be unretrievable due to such outages or changes. So they may delete an entire type of service of some sort, and your content may not be retrievable. Your Discord account. So this, I believe we also went over in the privacy policy that you will need to provide your birthday, and in some cases may be required to verify your account or provide additional information. You agree to notify us immediately if you believe your account has been compromised. We strongly recommend that you use the password only for Discord, and that you enable two-factor authentication. So, that's definitely best practices. Don't use the same password on different accounts and so forth, and enable that MFA. You must also, this is another interesting section. You must always provide accurate information to Discord and maintain the accuracy of information associated with your account. We may assume that any communications we receive from your account or the associated contact information have been made by you. You agree not to license, sell, lend, or transfer your account, Discord username, vanity URL, or other unique identifiers without prior written approval. So you're not allowed to license, sell, lend, or transfer anything regarding Discord without their written consent. They also reserve the right to delete, change, or reclaim usernames, URLs, or other identifiers. This has to do with like your content. This could be text, links, GIFs, emojis, photos, videos, documents, and other media. They do not have an obligation to add content to the services. Keep in mind where you're posting this content as well. And then also, this section here, I don't feel is bad at all, but your content is yours, but you give us a license, a form of permission to use it on Discord. So you grant them a license to use, redistribute, reproduce, and create derivative works of, display, and perform your content. The rights you grant in this license are for the limited purpose of providing, developing, and improving our services as permitted by applicable laws. This license is worldwide, non-inclusive, which means you can still license your content to others royalty-free, which means there are no fees for this license, sub-license, or transferable. We reserve the right to block, remove, and or permanently delete your content, or if it creates risk for Discord or negatively impacts the experience. So also, if it just creates risk, if you create risk for Discord or negatively impact, they reserve the right to remove anything that they want. They do welcome feedback on their services by sending feedback. You also grant them rights over that. So like if you tell them like, hey, you should make this feature, they're not going to compensate you or otherwise, and you give them permission to utilize your ideas or feedback how they see fit. They also may provide you with access to other people's content. You may not use this content without that person's consent or allowed by law. Also, links may be shown throughout to third-party websites and features and so forth. They're not responsible for the content or services available by these third parties. You may not copy, modify, create different works of Discord, so no reverse engineering or decompiling the software and attempts to do so or assist anyone in doing so unless you have prior written consent or applicable laws permit it. They also use some open source software licenses that may be subject to other compliance or license terms. Discord may allow you to access apps, bots, or other products commonly used for content moderation or interactive games. It's your choice whether you use these third-party services and whether you participate in Discord servers or other spaces that incorporate them. Discord is not responsible for any third-party services. Discord does not warrant or endorse and will not have the liability for any third-party services. There's been Discord bots in the past that were malicious, that literally shared malware or scams or all kinds of different stuff. They have their copyright section, paid services. They do state here that they won't charge a fee to use the basic functionality of their services, but of course they do have, benefits for paid options. When using our services, you must comply with these terms and all applicable laws. Let me double check here. Bam. Okay. Making sure that the microphone didn't fail again. When using our services, you must comply with all of these terms and applicable laws, rules, and regulations, including the community guidelines. Don't use the services to harm yourself or others. Don't use the services to harm Discord. Don't use the services to do anything that's illegal. That's like a large gist of the entire thing. We encourage you to report content. You're free to stop using Discord services at any time for any reason. Certain provisions of these terms will survive termination as outlined below. Disabling your account does not terminate this agreement. We reserve the right to suspend or terminate your account. That could be for reasons of breach, required to do so by law, reasonably believe termination is necessary, your account has been inactive for more than 2 years, or you create risk to Discord, other users, or third parties. There is an appeal process. One of the things that was shown in that previous transparency report is that like 10% of accounts had filed for appeals, which I thought was kind of interesting. Only 1 out of 10 accounts file for appeal. The services are as is. And then this is where it really starts getting into like the legalese, all caps. The services are provided as is only, no warranties or otherwise. They even include a section here that you're responsible for your mobile charges that may be incurred for using their services. So like text messages or data charges and so forth. I think it's kind of crazy that we live in a world that has to be included here, but still. And they also state here, we don't exclude or limit your ability to do so where it would be illegal to do so. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it there. Informal dispute. They do have an entire dispute resolution arbitrary section here that's probably like 6 pages. So that is an entire section there. You have to go through a particular company. So shall be governed by the United States and laws of California. So they primarily look into County of New Castleton, Delaware, and no other courts. And there's a bunch of different stuff that's in here, though. But there's a particular company that they utilize as well. And these documents here that I went through and highlighted, I'll provide too. This is directly from that. I downloaded these last night and just printed the page. There's also an entire thing of whether or not the controversy exceeds $10,000 or not, and how it's handled differently if it is. And yeah, so this, I believe, is the section here. So ADR Services and NAM set forth fees in their services. So those are the 2 companies that they work with for the arbitration. I think that pretty much concludes that. A clause on mass filings as well. And what they classify as mass filings appears to be 100 or more similar arbitration demands. So 100 or more would be considered mass filings. And then that goes under separate things under their terms of service. They also state down here at the very bottom, where required, we'll get your consent before sending you direct marketing and we'll make it easy for you to opt out. Again, I don't understand why they have to put that where required, but that's probably just their risk management portion where they're like, it's better to say where required than to say that we're going to do this. Because at the end of the day, they are a business. They also state up here too that if you don't agree with their policies and so forth, you must stop using their services. And they also link out to like the retention policy and so forth. I think that concludes it. So I think I pulled everything up here already. I dropped the other links in chat. I don't have anything else. I have all of these bookmarked here. But yeah, we'll probably bring this to an end now. So we are an hour and 16 minutes in, including 5 minutes of conversation that I was muted. So I'm going to pull this up instead. We'll leave that up for a moment. Before we bring this to an end, I just want to go ahead and also shout out, we have the Coffee Mafia. So the Coffee Mafia is 100% free, no cost, one-on-one sessions with members of the community or otherwise. We currently have 8 different volunteers for that. You can just go to that page. It'll be dropping in chat here in just a moment. And then you could select a time that works for you. Describe what you would like to do. Is it a mock interview? Did you want to get your resume reviewed? What did you want to talk about, or how could they assist you? That gets sent to one of the volunteers. It's randomly selected based on the time that you select. So the volunteers select what their availability is, and then it goes through and picks whoever's available for that time that you picked. I think that's an awesome availability there. It allows you to have a private one-on-one with somebody and talk to them. Even if you just want to have a coffee meeting with somebody, that's a great option. We also have like the job readiness meeting, which is the last Thursday of every single month. You can go through on our website and submit your redacted resume. Just make sure it's redacted. It does go through virus total and so forth to make sure that nobody's sending anything malicious. And you can go through and submit your redacted resume for the group resume review at the last session of the month, the last Thursday of every month as well. And then, of course, we have our Discord server as well. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it to an end there. Thank you guys for hopping in and joining me. Let me double check if PBO is still going. Yeah, so PBO is running right now, I think. Hopefully, maybe. No, he streamed an hour ago. So it looks like PBO is not live anymore, but he did go over secured software development practices for generative AI. Wow, PBO is talking about AI now. So you guys should go check out that video there, and I'll catch you guys in the Discord server and see you guys on Thursday. GRC Mafia.
Do you love cybersecurity and GRC? Do you like analogies stretched further than my hairline? then do I have a channel for you. Hi, my name is Cameron, also known as Cam, and I want to invite you to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel at CamGoddess, where I dive into various topics, frameworks, terms, and foundational knowledge within the broad categories of cybersecurity and GRC. I'm passionate about these things and about taking complex concepts and making them more easily understandable, more easily defined. Everyone is a nerd about something, so come, nerd, learn, and grow with me.